Yeah, I spent a whole hour beating my face and now I'm like sweating it all off. This is ridiculous. Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. So I've decided that my intro is really boring and really monotonous. So from this point on, I'm going to introduce myself to you by saying my name and one random fact about myself. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Srish and I once had this amazing powder blue like raincoat and I still have it, and this was back in like high school or something, and I took it to school, put it in my bag, came home, and it had bright orange stains because it was in my bag with a box of chutney. That's how Indian I am. So today I am really excited for you to see this video because today we are setting up for May in my bullet journal. Now, if you haven't guessed already, May is my birthday month. It is birthday May, and I will be turning 24 on the 8th of May, which is next Wednesday. So for this month, I decided I wanted to do something that is very me, that is very quintessentially Swish, and for me that would be the colour yellow. Now, all of this, my entire room here is bright yellow, and if you look to my right, I hope you can see this gorgeous dream catcher that I was gifted by one of my close friends. And so I thought, do you know what we should do this month? Yellow feathers. So with that said, let's just jump into this plan with me. Here's a quick disclaimer. In this video, I've mentioned the product I use to set up my bullet journal for the month of May. I've added links to all of these products in the description box, but I need you guys to be aware that these are indeed affiliate links. All that means is that if you do make a purchase using one of these links in my description box, it gives me a commission for your purchase. Don't worry, it doesn't charge you extra or affect your shopping experience in any way. It simply allows me to earn some money for directing you towards the product. This also doesn't mean that I'm lying to you to get you to buy something, because I literally use these products in the video and you can see how well they work for yourself. I only recommend things I use and love, so just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. As with every plan with me, we're going to start with some watercolor blobs. I've already planned everything with a pencil. The tone is 5H, which is visible but very light. I'm going in with a lemon yellow mixed with a tiny bit of Indian yellow to warm it up a little more. By the way, you don't need these specific supplies, but if you're in the market for new stationery, these are the ones I use and recommend. Okay, so once the paints are blocked in and mostly dry, we can start to have some real fun. With a Uni Pin Fineliner with a nib size of 0.8, which is pretty large, I'm putting down a very simple lowercase font. And I use the same pen to write out a very simple calendar for the month of May. Now this month I want to create a very sketchy, organic kind of aesthetic. So when it comes to the feathers and straight lines, I don't really want perfect heavy ink. So here's where my terrible hoarding habit finally becomes useful. I've grabbed a couple of old, nearly dry fineliners for the job. For the feathers, I'm using a nib size of 0.05 millimeters, which is very, very fine. and I'm starting out with a center line. This helps me decide which direction the feather is bending in, and so all the other lines converge towards this middle line. The trick with feathers is to create asymmetry. Often when we try to draw feathers, they end up looking like oddly colored leaves instead. So to avoid that, try to make sure that both halves of the feather are divided differently. You want to create clumps of fibers with some loose strands between these clumps, but vary the cluster sizes and the number of loose strands between each cluster. Plus, another cool trick to make your feathers look more believable is to add some short spiky strands around the center stem at the very base of the feather. And of course, leave a little bit of stem at the end because that's where it's plugged into the bird skin. Look at me trying to teach you bird anatomy. Professor Srish out here. Okay, so on the right half of the cover spread, I made a small box for my goals and a longer one for this new thing I'm trying, which is a My Ideal Day plan. Basically, I'm going to put in a 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. timeline where I'll plan out the perfect day for the month of May. Hopefully, this will further help me when I'm planning my daily tasks and also give me a solid ideal to aspire to. So this month, on the 8th of May, I will be turning 24 years old. Crazy, I know. My mum got married at this age, and there's me who needs 2 days' notice if we're having guests over. But if you've watched my mental health video, you probably remember that I had a massive struggle with depression and didn't think I'd even make it to 22 years of age. So getting to 24 for me personally is nothing short of a miracle. So, scary as it may seem, I'm definitely incredibly grateful to still be here and to still be creating awesome content for you every day. And a lot of it is thanks to you guys and your support. So, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here today. It means the whole wide world to me. Okay, sappy moment aside, I added in a little 24 karat magic because I like being extra, and also Bruno Mars is my spirit animal, so yeah. Also, you may have noticed that I'm keeping the lines very sketchy. To do this, I'm just using the very first Uni Pin Fineliner I ever bought in the nib size 0.3. I don't use 0.3 anymore, I much prefer 0.4. I know it's a tiny difference, but it glides so much easier for me. What's your favorite nib size for fine liners? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so fun fact, this whole setup took me slightly over 4 hours to put together. And that is not including the lunch break I had to take in the middle. So if you don't mind, I've done all the feather detailing off camera because otherwise this whole video would be like a 10 GB file. So let's cut to slightly future Srish after she's done the feathers off camera. Okay, I'm back. So the next spread is workflows and mood tracker. With the workflows, I've just created a very basic table where the left column is Monday through Wednesday and the right half is for Thursday to Saturday. Now, if you're not familiar with my workflow spread and block planning as a whole, I did a whole video on it, which I will leave in the description and also in the cards in the top right corner, so you can check that out later. But in a nutshell, my workflow is basically a set of routine tasks I carry out each week, and it's based on the content I need to create and publish, as well as how my energy levels fluctuate throughout the week. To the right is my mood tracker, which is a page filled with 31 little feathers for each day. The scale is in the top right corner, which goes from transparent for a bad day to lemon yellow for an average day and up to orangey Indian yellow for a good day. I think having a gradient will allow me to be more flexible with my mood tracking, and I can totally mix and match, which allows more freedom. Okay, so this spread is new to my journal, mostly because I used to use apps for this, but nothing beats pen and paper goal settings, so here we are. This month, I'm really focused on specific, massive goals. So I'm picking out four of my biggest goals for the month, and I'm going to use the space in this spread to turn them into action steps. Now, if you're not sure how to do this, I have a blog post about the goal funnel method, which I will also link down in the description. It's probably my most popular post, and it's definitely helped a ton of people. So make sure you check that out as well. Loads of link out from this video, right? You have a ton of homework to do after this video. Told you I'm being Professor Srish today. Okay, so again, like with the other spreads, I'm using a 0.8mm nib to write out the title, Goals in Action. I really love how the bold title stands out against the delicate feathers. It's just mwah, gorgeous. Again, I've been keeping the layout fairly basic because I really want to leave more space for brainstorming than anything else. As much as I love a good table, tables can be incredibly restrictive when it comes to creative thinking. But speaking of tables, the next spread is my monthly log. But this is not a spread I usually turn back to every day, and I would have skipped it, except I have a feeling that this month I'm gonna want to document a lot of stuff. So this very simple table is only really here to document stuff rather than actually plan anything. I also added my gratitude column here just so I have an excuse to flip back to this page at the end of the day. That will likely prompt me to also document other important stuff that happened in the day, so hopefully it works out. One thing you may have noticed this month is that I'm not creating a monthly tracker. And last month I'd actually minimized my monthly tracker into just a sleep and mood tracker. This month, I've already created a mood tracker like we saw, but for everything else, I want to condense it all into smaller weekly trackers. Why? Because I look at my weekly spread every day, and that way I can actually fill the tracker out instead of just having it sit there and gather dust. So, yeah, monthly log, very simple. The next couple of spreads are content focused and are again fairly simple. Starting with my YouTube content spread, I just have a box for goals, a box for video trackers, where I'll track whether a video has been recorded, edited, uploaded, meta tagged, etc. And I have a larger table on the right side for mind mapping each individual video. Like I said, it's nothing too fancy and it does the job. Next, my Instagram content spread has a slightly different layout. I do have a goals box, but this time I'm creating a smaller brainstorm space just under it. Since my Instagram feed needs to be cohesive, I don't really have to think of new ideas for every single post like I do for YouTube. All the Insta posts have to look good together, which means I just need enough space in this box to plan out a nice, pretty aesthetic. On the right hand page, however, I'm creating a table that mimics the layout of Instagram's feed, so a 3 column table like you see when you go to someone's page. Of course, if you want to have a look at my Insta, which is where I will share all of today's spreads when they are filled in, then come follow me on Instagram. My handle is at Srish Creates, not just on Insta, but also Twitter and Facebook. And my mum says I need more friends. So let's make mum happy, okay? Another new spread this month is one for art prints. That's right, guys, I'm about to start making art prints available, which I will be having printed and shipping out myself. I'll definitely do a proper detailed video on it soon, probably on social media, so again, make sure you're following me at Srish Creates everywhere. But anyway, this spread is a very basic table, and just like the monthly log, it is more for documentation purposes than for anything else. And by the way, here's a quick sneak peek at a progress chart. The finished version of this piece may or may not be our first print. And that brings us to our final spread for the day, which is the first 3 days of May. I didn't want to skip them and make the next week, nor did I want to make a whole weekly spread just for 3 days, so this was a happy compromise of sorts. As with all of my daily spreads, this is in a timeline format. Remember how we'd planned out an ideal day on the cover page? This is exactly why. I created boxes for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I also created a small remember section just for things that need to be done before the weekend, but not by any specific day or time. Things like testing out my live stream or buying a new pair of headphones, small but handy. And this month, I want to get back into doing quotes because this inspiration has certainly been lacking in my journal lately. So with all of that out of the way, we can finally move on to the final flip through. Alrighty, you guys, that is my May plan with me. I am so excited for my birthday and I'm so excited to see where this year takes me, and I'm so excited to hear what you thought of this theme, of this video, of this increased production value, because I have some really good lighting. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave me a thumbs up. Comment down below if you like this theme or what theme you're using for your bullet journal this month, because I would love to know. Comment below if you have ideas on what I should do on my birthday, because I have no clue what I'm gonna do. I'm probably just gonna wake up at like 6 a.m. and stay in my pajamas all day, probably work, because that's the kind of person I am. If you are new here and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. That would be the best birthday gift for me. Thank you very much in advance. Okay, so I'm gonna go and sadly have to wipe all of this makeup off because I literally cannot stand this anymore. The heat is crazy. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. You know I love spending time with you. And I will see you again once I have turned 24 years old. How exciting. Alright, you guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.